Please turn to the Journal section in your Falcon Pride workbook and write the topic of today's lesson, Who Gets Hurt, on October 25th. National research indicates that one of the most common reasons students engage in academic dishonesty is because nobody gets hurt. In the space marked present in your Falcon Pride workbook, reflect on that statement. Do other people get hurt when students engage in academic dishonesty? If so, how are they impacted? How are other people affected when students at Cactus Shadows engage in academic dishonesty?
Cheating. When it comes to cheating in the classroom, it's more than just about the grade. It's about the relationship between the teacher and the student. I know in my classroom, collaboration is really important, and trust between the students, not only among themselves and the teacher, is really important. So if cheating starts taking place, it takes away a lot from that trust, and I can't do a lot of things I do in my classroom in terms of having students collaborate, share ideas. Because in any classroom, sharing is good, but taking something without giving back is always a bad thing. So cheating is important, not just in terms of your grades, but in terms of the classroom environment and your relationship with your peers and your teachers.
Cheating, it's a huge disappointment, and I as a teacher feel very let down and betrayed. So there's that the teacher has to work through, and then you have to deal with the discipline side of it, and we have to write up the paperwork for it. We have to make a phone call home and contact parents somehow. It all has to be documented, so it causes additional work. Then you have to make sure that the student that you caught cheating didn't spread the love, so to speak, and send tests or questions, etc., to other students. So the best way to do that is to rewrite an assignment. So it is a whole lot more work on teachers when students are caught cheating.
Well, as it breaks the curve for those people, I curve to the highest test score. So if you break the curve and you didn't do anything, the person that studied hard just got a lower grade because you decided to cheat.
If I found out that my kids were cheating in school, I would definitely be disappointed, because that's one thing as a parent, and my wife as well. We teach our kids to be as honest as possible and make sure that they're doing their own work. And to some degree, I would be more concerned of what that may carry over to outside of school, whether it might be cheating in a relationship or cheating at work, or even perhaps on their team, or even cheating as far as their family and their responsibilities around a home may be. I think if it's easy for a kid to cheat in school, they may feel that it might be easy to cheat in the game of life itself.
When students cheat, what they don't realize is that it does affect teachers. Our job is to teach our students and get a good assessment on their ability to understand and to pick up information. And when we have people cheat, our students cheat, we don't get an accurate portrayal of what they actually know. And then when they actually do take assessments that teachers are graded on and evaluated on, and they don't perform as well, we're confused as to why. And unfortunately, that has a major effect on whether or not we can keep our job.
It disrespects us. We try and teach the students as best as we can. We give them all the information. We're there to help them and whenever they need help. And yet, when we trust them and they disregard that and they take advantage of a situation, we're trying to be there for them. And so it is part of disrespecting us, and it really doesn't make us want to, why should we help you if you're just going to cheat?
So we've had some instances with newspaper where kids have cheated and plagiarized and put stuff in the newspaper that they didn't write. And that causes tremendous problems and actually could destroy the entire journalism program at the school, because we could be sued for publishing something that somebody else wrote. So that's one instance of a way that cheating can really harm not just the person who's cheating, not just the teacher, but the entire program at the school.
I think it creates a lot of stress when students cheat. I think it's difficult for a teacher to call them out because you don't want to acknowledge that it's happening. But it's also difficult to justify a 0 in the book and see your grades suffer. But it's also difficult to see other kids struggling in the class who are working their butts off, who don't cheat. To see those kids get leapfrogged by kids who do cheat and their grade point goes up because of it, and it makes everybody else's class rank invalid. And I think that's a bummer.
It destroys the relationship that you have between the teacher and the student. Personally, I find it very difficult to be a really effective teacher unless I care for my kids. But when they've cheated, and I know that, and I do know it, it makes it harder for me to have that bond, and that means I am not as effective. And that's not a good thing. If someone cheats in my class, I truly do feel like I've been kind of kicked in the teeth.
As a mom, if I found out my child cheated, I would be really disappointed and saddened. It would make me question whether I taught them the right values and make me wonder what brought them to do that when that's not something that we teach as a family. I would rather my kids do their best and end up failing a test than to compromise their values and cheat on something in their life. So I'd be really upset and a little embarrassed.
First of all, extremely disappointed. I usually hold my students in extremely high regard. I give them a certain level of respect, and I expect them to act like adults. And when a student engages in academically dishonest behavior, it kind of shapes and changes the way that I look at that student. As much as we'd like to be objective, when someone breaks that respect and when someone breaks that trust, it's not particularly easy to mend. And even one instance of it happening will affect you pretty much throughout the entire semester, because we'll pretty much never look at that student the same way again.
All right. Well, cheating would be similar to going to an eye doctor and cheating on an eye exam. The doctor would send you right out of the office and he would say you don't need glasses. Same thing from a teacher standpoint. If you get 100% on test, I say I don't need to focus on that student as much because they don't need my help. I'm going to focus on others. So you're really just throwing us off when all we're trying to do is help you.
Now that we've integrated technology in the classroom, and a big part of the classroom is publishing things online, through the years I've seen that evolve. Students will go online and look at previous students' projects and will try to submit that as their own. And that just, it's not, number one, it's disheartening for that student who cheated, who felt, they were in so much a big pinch, or they were so stressed out, they felt like their only option, instead of turning nothing in, they felt their only option was to turn in someone else's work. Not only does it discredit that student, but it is also heartbreaking for the student who did work really hard and did publish that. It's really sad to see that student who worked so hard and wants their work to be published on the internet, but now it's for someone else to take. That was hours of hard work that somebody else put in, and that somebody else is now putting their name on it.
As a human being, I don't admire or respect people that cheat or steal, but cheating specifically. You need to owe up to who you are and what you are. So I really admire people that do that, so cheaters don't get that admiration from me.
If one of my kids was caught cheating and I got called to the office to talk to the administrators about it, I would be so embarrassed initially. You would be embarrassed. And then after that initial embarrassment, then you kind of start to be hurt or worried about your kids, or do they do this all the time? I don't want them to do this because it's not good for them. It's not good for their future. It's not going to help them.
It offends me personally. It hurts my feelings. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of, and that the learning is being downplayed and disregarded in place of just the grade. And of course, I care a lot about the subject that I'm teaching.
In the space-marked future, personalize the stories you just watched. If you were to engage in academic dishonesty, how do you think your friends, your teachers, your parents, and other people you care about would be impacted.
All I would like to say is, please don't do it. Make a vow to yourself that you won't do it, and then you probably won't. Just do your own work. It's a great thing.